Good morning and welcome to the Buzz with Busy Crochet. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to hang on just a second. I'm having a technical difficulty. All right. So today we are going to be talking with Helen Wilkinson of Sunflower Cottage Crochet, and I'm going to bring her on camera in just a second here. Hello,
Hi.
Helen, and welcome to the Buzz with Busy Crochet. Thank you so much for joining today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Biz.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and just start with the question that we always start with is tell us about who you are. Share any family information that you're comfortable with. Where are you from? That kind of stuff.
Okay. I'm Helen. I currently live in the northeast of England, about 90 miles south of Edinburgh. Seems to be how I best describe it so people understand where I am. So yes, it gets a little bit nippy here, which is why a lot of my patterns seem to be warmer things. The beach is just at the bottom of our street, which is absolutely fabulous.
Wow.
So that we can take that. That's how we start our day, is a walk along the beach with the dogs.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's really good. I've got an 11-year-old daughter who actually started crocheting during lockdown.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, she drives me a bit nuts though. My OCD can't cope because she just freehands everything and she just all up and it looks great. But I'm like, nope, you need a pattern, you need to write it. There needs to be some logic behind this job.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So, yep, and I've been married for nearly 9 years, but we've been together for 23.
That's really cool. Good to hear. Okay, so how many years have you been a crocheter?
Since I was 14, so let's all get depressed and think about that. 28 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I started, really it was a means for me to revise for my exams. So like history and science, where you needed to regurgitate a lot of information like dates and formulas and things, I actually started with double crochet granny squares and just made double crochet granny squares for my exams, had a huge pile and ended up with a blanket. But
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people say that they can't, like crochet helps calm them down. But I think that's why crochet helps me think. I mean, I quite often have arguments in my head. When somebody's knocked you a little bit and you're like, num, 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 num.
Do you ever find your tension coming out in your crochet? Like, when you're tense in your brain, things are tighter in your crochet?
I haven't experienced that. Not that I've noticed anyway.
Well, that's good. So the first project that you made must have been that blanket then.
Yes.
So do you still have it? Did you keep it?
I did. Sorry. But unfortunately it just went in the bin a few weeks ago because he used it as his poolie blanket. So every time he wasn't feeling very well, he would drag out this huge blanket that I'd made, snuggle under it. But it was getting old and worn, and the dogs had clicked bits of it, so it was starting to unravel, and I had to promise to make another one.
Yeah, I've got a couple of blankets that have not worn very well, and I still have them, and I'm so emotionally attached to them. I really need to throw them out. But you know how you think, like, I put all that work in that, and I just can't throw it out. But I need to. I completely see why you would have done that. So when about did you start designing crochet?
Designing only about 4.5 years ago.
Okay. All right. So what brought you to that? Like, what made you get to the point where you wanted to design for yourself?
In all honesty, I was asked to. I was in another group and I was quite friendly with the designer in that group, and she was having problems thinking of things to do to entertain everybody. So she asked if I would design something that could be used as a cowl, which is where my first ever design, the mixed toffee cowl, came up. At the time, she never used it, so I was able to release that one myself. and
Uh-huh.
host a couple of cowls with that one. It's really it's a cute one. It's a cowl, but it's got 4 different sections and 4 different types of stitches on it.
I love mixed stitch projects. Just it's more interesting to me.
Yes.
It kind of keeps your imagination. So, do you have a niche? What is your niche?
I haven't niched as far as I probably should. I know Christine from Ambassador Crochet keeps saying, "Just do blankets, Helen. Just do blankets." But I enjoy the creativity, and when I get an idea, I like to run with it.
Mm-hmm.
So at the minute, I'm kind of flexing my design muscles more with garments.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still enjoy blankets and the little baskets and home deck items. So yeah, I don't think I've niched down to where I should, but my people seem to enjoy the variation, so that's okay.
Yeah. I can completely understand what you're saying though, because when I started, I was very much into amigurumi. And then as I got along, I found that people really liked my blankets. So my blankets are kind of what I'm, known for. But I like to design the toys and I like to design other things as well. So I can understand where niching is important, but I kind of land in two different ones. Do you know what I mean? And you
Yeah,
probably do as well. And I think that I love the idea of niching and being really specialized, but I'm not sure that I love the idea of being so specialized that I don't ever get the opportunity to work on something else because I feel like
yeah,
that stymies creativity
yeah. I
a
mean,
little bit.
blankets are big projects, aren't they?
It
And
is
sometimes you don't want to sit down and have a big project that you need to
all of
do.
the time.
Yeah.
And if you're forever being the one designing it, your brain never gets a break.
Yes. Although I
Um,
do have to say, if I haven't done a corner to corner for a while, I really miss it.
do you see? I cannot wrap my brain around how to do the color changes, and I don't know why it's so difficult for me. I'm not stupid. I just cannot get it, and they're so cute, and I want to really bad, but I just have not been able to figure that out.
Oh,
What's the
well,
what's the miracle behind it?
if you don't mind a shameless plug, I do have
Absolutely.
a free learn corner to corner mini course. It's 3 videos,
Uh-huh.
2 projects. So in the first video, I show people how to read patterns, what the graphs look like, where you start. So I go through it all step by step. And then we start making the back of my bunny pillow.
Mhm.
Just straightforward square, no color changes, just to get the hang of the increases and the decreases. And then in the second part, we make the front. So I chose a bunny because there's hardly any color changes. So
Okay.
you can get the gist. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Without actually having 700 bobbins in front of you
Yes.
tangling and doing all of the weird and wonderful things that corner to corner yarn usually does.
Yes.
But
'Cause
I make that with you step by step as well. And then in the third one, I have we make a scarf. So we look at rectangles and
okay.
how to make a rectangle. And the easiest thing to do was to make a scarf for that one. So
'Cause I've done corner to corner, like, I get the concept of corner to corner, and I like blankets. I like doing those for, like, scrap blankets because you can just use whatever colors you want and stripe it. That's the only thing I can do is stripe. And I did buy, what is her name? Repeat Crafter Me, that she came out with this little woodland animals corner to corner, and I bought the book, and I was so excited about it, and I sat down and I was gonna make something. I could not figure it out, and I ended up having to, like, just give that book away because I couldn't do it, and I thought, "My gosh, girl." But no, I'm very interested in doing your course because I want to learn how to be better at all of the different things so that I don't, you know, so I'm not stuck.
oh, bless you.
But I've got a question here for you
Mhm.
from Neve. She says, "Hi, Helen, late to the party here. Nice to meet you. Hey, are you from the east side of the Pennines? Pennines? How is that?
Pennines. It's a
Pennines.
mountain range. Yes, we're on the east coast. So literally I have the North Sea at the bottom of our street.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know that it's terrible, but Neve is my admin on my business page and in most of my groups, and I cannot remember where she's from, but she's got a really great accent too. So,
Oh, she?
yeah, she lives in Canada now, in Saskatchewan, I believe, and but she is from originally Lancashire last here.
Oh, bless. Lancashire's
So,
lovely. We've just looked at some houses there. We were thinking about moving.
oh, well, that's fun. Her mom, I believe, is still in that area. Alrighty. Let's talk a little bit more about your designs. What is your favorite design that you've done?
Oh, golly. It depends, but probably the one that I'm most proud of is one that I haven't released yet because I'm busy
Oh,
making it at the moment. It's a corner to corner, and
okay.
it's what I'm going to say is an heirloom piece. It's
Mm.
absolutely, it's just me through and through.
Oh, I love it.
Huge, but it's going to be so worth it. Basically, what it is elephants walking along on an African sunset, and I've got some tribal, like tribal designs at the top and the bottom of the blanket just to frame it a little bit.
Well, that's
It's
cool. I mean,
it's
does it come from your travels or is it just something that you love, a subject you love?
elephants are just, I just love them. When my daughter was born, her whole nursery was elephants. Even the cot had an elephant painted on it.
Oh, but elephants are awesome. They have such an amazing family aesthetic. They're really great.
Yeah, they're so loyal and just
They are.
yeah.
I mean, they're generational. So, you
Yes.
know, that's the beautiful thing about them.
Yeah. And they're a family that sticks together no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's me.
I love the whole personality of an elephant.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got that to look forward to. I mean, do you have a newsletter that they can get signed up for so that they can make sure that they see this when it comes out?
Yes, absolutely. If they go to the website, sunflowercottagecrochet.com,
Mhm.
there's a pop-up that'll come up, or there's a little section in the footer right at the bottom of the homepage where you
Mhm.
can just add your email address.
Okay, well that's great because we want to make sure that we follow you so we can see when this comes out. You're also on Facebook too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Sunflower Cottage Crochet on Facebook, and the group is Sunflower Cottage Crochet Community.
Okay, so tell me about your name, Sunflower Cottage Crochet. How did you come up with that? Where was the inspiration from?
Um, to be honest, I didn't come up with that name.
Oh, really?
No, Sunflower Cottage Crochet used to be a partnership.
Oh,
But
okay.
Sarah, who did it with me, she's from Kansas, which is where I think the whole Sunflower Cottage
Okay.
inspiration came from. But yeah, she had some issues going on with her health and with her family, and her dad
Mhm.
died. You know, just life
Mhm.
kind of threw a few too many curveballs, I think. So we just decided just to part ways.
Okay.
And she was going to go and do her thing that worked better for what she needed and the
Mhm.
time she could dedicate it to. And I bought sunflower off her.
Okay. Well, I mean, it works for England too, doesn't it? You guys have sunflowers there.
Yeah, we do. We grow them more than anything. Like, you know, the kids put one seed in a pot and
Mhm. Well, I mean, Kansas is flat and there's a lot of farmland there, so I know there's sunflower farms and stuff like that, so it's probably where that came from. Who knows? Um but yeah, no, I think of England. When I think of England, I always think of like Peter Rabbit and gardens and little cottages and stone roads and my some of my favorite TV shows are British and they just for whatever reason you guys just do a better TV show than Americans do. You just do.
Oh, thank you.
Well, they develop the characters so much better. They have better stories. It's just
Yeah,
better.
we get invested in the character in their life. I don't
Yeah.
know whether it's because British people are perceived as being nosy, maybe. Like, communities in Britain are really nice.
Yeah.
The streets, everybody knows everybody. You don't get away with anything. There's no secrets, pretty much.
Yeah. No, and I like that. In America, it's very different. We've
Mhm.
lived in several different neighborhoods in the city that we are in, and we moved from Wisconsin, which is very, very north to and lots of snow, to very, very south and lots of humidity. And, it was kind of hard to get into the neighbors because everybody just lives in their houses. Everybody just goes to work. Nobody really hangs out and does anything. It depends on the neighborhood you get into, and I suppose it depends on your personality as well, but it
Mhm.
just seems like it's not quite as community based.
Yeah, I mean, Britain has its moments as well.
Mhm,
But we do pull together when we need to.
mhm.
Like for instance, we've got a WhatsApp group for our street, and they're trying to
Oh,
organise whether or not we're going to have a Coronation Street party.
oh,
For
fun.
girls, or at Halloween, we'll close the street to cars
Mhm.
and have a big Halloween party for the kids and
Oh,
do
that's so fun.
things like that. And it's just lovely. It really is lovely.
So do you guys have, what is that called? Oh, my brain. Like the community garden, where everybody can get a plot.
An allotment.
Yes, thank you. Do you have anything like that where you are?
There are some around about, but
Mhm.
most of the houses do have little gardens, or
Okay.
some of them have big gardens. So it tends to be more people in the pit villages.
What does that mean?
Um, from the coal mining communities, traditionally
Oh,
coal mining communities, where all the miners live, their little
okay.
village. We call them pit villages because obviously they went down the pits to dig for the coal.
Oh, neat. I like that reference.
But a lot of them have only like backyards, and
Okay.
their front door goes straight onto the street. So they don't tend to have a lot of places to plant anything, and they will, as a general rule, go and get an allotment plot. My
Okay. Well,
sister,
that's really interesting.
yeah.
I apologize. My internet's a little bit funky right now, so you may see me pausing. Okay. So you just got back from the United States.
I did, yes.
You did. So tell us about your vacation.
Well, it was half vacation and half work. So that's always nice when you can mix the two. We spent the
Mhm.
first how long? 8 or 9 days in New York. We took my daughter and in-laws with us, because Georgie had to go back to school on the 17th. So Richard's mum and dad actually came back to England with her and kept her for a week and made sure she got to school and all the
Oh,
rest
wow,
of it.
that's really nice.
We then went and did our work part of the holiday. But I have to say, New York was good. A long weekend is good, but I'm a country mouse, and
Mm.
it was just too many people. Too Yeah. Oh my lord. Yes.
I can completely understand that because you and I were talking before this started, and I have no desire to ever go to New York City. Like, I've
Yeah.
lived in the United States my whole life, of course, but I never wanna go.
No. Well, I was explaining, wasn't I, that in a couple of points, I actually thought I was gonna lose my daughter in the
Yeah.
crowds. Fifth Avenue and some of the touristy sections, people
Mhm.
just don't care. They're
Mm-mm.
just and okay, just on a little bit of a rant.
It's okay.
Think to pass your test in New York, your driving test, all you need to do is know where the horn is. Because that's all anybody ever did was beep their horn.
I
And
think that's in Florida too.
is it?
Oh
It
my
was,
gosh, they're crazy down here.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But I also find it fairly entertaining that in America, a red traffic light doesn't actually mean stop.
Oh, no, it means go faster and try to get through.
Yeah, regardless of whether the pedestrians can go across or not.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a bull and a red cape. You know, the red just means charge.
Yeah. See, in England, when people go through a red light, the camera on the light flashes you and you get a fine. And then ultimately, if you keep doing it, you'll go to court.
And that's what it should be here too, but it's not.
But it's not, no. I wonder whether it's because not a lot of people walk in America. I mean, in New York, they do, because it's probably the easiest way to get around other than the subway. But when you go out a bit further, like we went to Colorado for the second part of our leg, and I met up with some fabulous designers while I was there for a mastermind retreat. But while you're there, everything's so spread out because there's just so much land. People get in their cars and then they drive to the next parking lot to go to the next place.
Yeah, it's the same here. We just don't have like pedestrians unless you go into our downtown area, which is set up for walking. You know, it's got all the stores and the restaurants and everything you can get to. But if you're in any part of the outer part of the city, you have to drive to get there.
Yeah. It's just different, isn't it? It's just something that you have to get used to. But yeah, it was interesting.
That's fun. So let's talk about your mastermind class that you went to. So we are both a part of something called Crochet Business Academy, and you are a little bit like deeper into it than I am. You work with Pam directly in a mastermind group. So tell us, what is a mastermind group? What does it do for you?
Basically, it's a smaller group of designers. There's about 5 of us. There used to be 6, but there's 5 of us now, and it's just more focused, and you have a lot more accountability. If you have a question, you can brainstorm ideas.
It seems like we've got a little bit of a pause here. It might be on my end. It might be on Helen's, but we'll wait and have her. I'm sorry. My computer completely froze. And so you were saying that it is more focused, and that can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. You were saying that it's more focused and that having the smaller group, and then I lost you.
Yeah. So then if you have an idea or an issue when you want to brainstorm anything, then those, I'm going to say ladies, because it is a group of ladies, are there to help with that.
Yeah. That's really great.
Nice community to be part of.
Yeah, and so I kind of followed you guys on Instagram, and because Pam was posting stuff, and it seemed like you guys were really having a good time.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how often do you meet together in person?
Once a year.
That's cool.
We do mastermind, like a retreat, once a year, and we usually do it around the area where Pam lives, because she knows it. So she arranged for us to go to some local yarn shops while we were there, and she knows the restaurants, so she planned some what she calls family meals that we all went to. But they're just really welcoming and fabulous. I mean, Richard comes with us, my husband, and because of his job, he's very IT savvy. That's what he does all day, websites, and he's just, he's too clever for his
God for him, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But they just accepted him as part of the group, and he did some sessions on SEO and like imparted some of his wisdom and things he's learned, and did sessions with each of the ladies. So if they had questions about their website or wanted to understand things or help them set up the Google Analytics for that sort of thing, he was on hand to help with that.
Oh, that's nice.
And Tonya from Nana's Crafty Home, her husband and granddaughter were there, and they joined us for a few meals, but usually during the day they went off and drove around the area and investigated a little bit. But last year we hired a car and Richard nearly killed us.
Oh,
so we
no.
car again. So Katie from Hooked by Katie was our chauffeur for the week.
Oh, how funny. I suppose it's opposite side of the road for you guys, isn't it?
Well, it's opposite side of the road. It's, you know, people don't tuck in to turn around a corner. They do a big swing and this whole red light situation. And we were just like, I just said to Richard, I don't know whether my heart could take it again this year.
That's so funny. So let's talk about social media. And as far as your business is concerned, you know, Sunflower Cottage Crochet, Helen Wilkinson. What is your opinion of the need for designers to be on social media, and what kind of presence do you feel like each one should have?
Oh, do you want my honest opinion about this?
Absolutely. That's what we want to know.
I am not technology focused. As you saw when we were trying to get on.
That's why we thank God for Richard.
Yes, it's not me. So on a personal level, to be honest, I kind of resent how much we're forced to do social media because that's how you get seen. I mean, I love my Facebook group. They're great. And I'm quite comfortable with that. But places like Instagram, I just feel so uncomfortable doing it and so salesy and just, yeah. It takes me all of my effort to work myself up to being able to do it.
Yes. I completely understand. I get a sense of like personal overwhelm from time to time. And poor Neve, she hears all of it. And I will go into our conversations and be like, can I just get permission from you to say no, to just quit, to just not do it? You know, I just need somebody else to say, this is okay, you can walk away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I refuse to do TikTok. Point blank refuse.
Yeah.
And one of the moderators in my group, bless her heart, she's lovely and she makes me smile every single day. But she's a lot older than I am. I think she's in her 70s. I don't think she would mind.
Oh my goodness.
But she keeps saying, Helen, get a TikTok account. Helen, get it down. I'm like, nope.
Yeah,
I've got
but I don't use it.
Instagram and Pinterest, and I'm just like, that's all yeah. I'm like
Pinterest, I'm still working myself into. Because I'm okay with Instagram. I have the basics of it. I do most of my stuff on Facebook, but Pinterest is like my Achilles heel. And I want so bad to do it. You know, I want so bad to understand how to do it. But there's just this thing inside me that goes, I don't want to. It's so much work, and I don't personally see a return from it, probably because I don't understand what I'm even looking at.
Yeah.
But it's like that one extra thing I don't want to have to add to my pile of, you know, this other pile of stuff I've got to do.
Yeah.
So I kudos to anybody that can get it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not me. Put myself out there front and center every single day. It's just, yeah.
It can be overwhelming for sure.
Granny cardigan and crochet up something, please.
Yes, completely agree with you there. That's kind of what I do as I retire to my living room. When I get to the point in my office where like it's just too much. And I know that sounds crazy because I mean, how hard is it really? You know, what are you doing? It's just not that hard. But after a while, in day after day after day after day after day, it becomes monotonous. And it becomes overwhelming to me. And that just must be my personality or something. But that's where I take and I just shut everything down and I go in my living room and I crochet because I gain my sanity back there.
Yeah, I completely.
And then I turn on my murder shows.
Okay.
So what kind of TV do you like to watch when you're crocheting?
Well, honestly, I like a good kick-ass Viking series.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
So which ones have you watched?
Oh, I've watched them all. I've seen Vikings.
Mhm.
Oh, the one with Uhtred. Kingdom of Heaven, I think, was.
Oh, okay.
I just watched it the other night. Sorry, you've put me on the spot now.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah.
I'll probably remember it and shout it at you in 5 or 10 minutes.
I tend to lean more towards action flicks. I'm not a chick flick kind of person, and my murder shows I really only watch in the afternoon when my husband's not around.
Mhm.
But because when he walks in the door, he's like, taking notes again. It takes way too much energy. I do not have the energy to kill you, so
Yeah.
no worries.
One thing I have found is that you can't watch The Mandalorian while you're crocheting.
Oh, no. No,
If
because there's too much going on.
Yeah, if you get distracted for like 5 minutes counting something and you look up, you're just lost.
Yeah. Well, that and Pedro Pascal is just too cute in that outfit.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, let's just be real.
film it off more often, but yeah. I know he can't. No, he can't. Just before Katie gives me a lecture on why he can't, Katie from Hook by Katie is a very big Star Wars fan. She does conventions, she dresses up, she goes to the hospitals to entertain the children. She does all sorts. She's amazing, but she's very big on Star Wars.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's super fun. Okay, so let's talk about. We're gonna go back to your patterns. What do you feel sets your patterns apart from somebody else?
See, I have problems answering these sorts of questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, well, it's just little me.
Yeah, I understand.
I think I'm too modest for my own good sometimes, although at least Pam says I am. I don't know. Probably just the effort and the thought that I put into them, that I'm not releasing patterns just because I need another one to release this week, which is a hamster wheel that a lot of designers can get on. And I'll be honest, it was a hamster wheel I fell onto for quite a long time. But then when you get on it, it's hard to get back off it. But now I'm thinking more and doing more about more of the patterns that I want to do. There we go. Anita, bless her heart, diversity in your patterns. I'll go with Anita's answer.
But yeah, I completely agree with you on the hamster wheel. I have some friends who they are putting out patterns all the time, and I just don't know how they have the energy to do all of that. I'm a super low energy person, so I have to kind of protect that. Otherwise, I just wash out really fast.
Yeah, well, you have to make your business work for you, don't you? You
Yeah.
can't have your business running you. You have to run your business.
Absolutely. And I think that some people get the idea that more is more.
Yeah, and it's not.
Quality. Yeah. I did want to talk about your crochet along from last year, the garden blanket.
The community garden blanket, yeah.
Yeah, was that a collaboration blanket?
It was, yes. I think I've kind of become known for collaboration blanket cows in the last few years. I started with the friendship blanket, which went really well. And I had loads of designers. I think there was 20 some designers, each designed an 8-inch square with the theme of texture. And there was some absolutely stunning squares in that blanket. I love it. And then the following year, we did the community garden blanket cow, which is a corner one. Because,
yes. And I want to make that because I love gardens.
Yes. It's really cute. So the theme was community gardens or allotments, as we call them. area. And each designer came up with something that reminded them or was special about a community garden to them. So, for instance, Hannah from Hanjan did a rainbow with a rain cloud, which was really pretty. And I did carrots because my granddad, if you've read the post, my granddad used to have an allotment and used to grow vegetables and enter into all of the village, because he lived in a pit village. So he used to enter all of the village chores every fall when harvesting was done and put in his leeks in particular. And my mum always said she remembers that he had this thing in his head where as a fertilizer he had to use pig's blood, but he also played them Shirley Bassey music.
To make funny.
He thought Shirley Bassey made his vegetables grow big. So, but I do remember being taken round when I was a child around all the tables and just the smell of the leeks and the onions and just makes me smile.
You know, I didn't discover leeks until I was an adult, and I don't know why we never ate them when I was a kid, because I grew up pretty country and we had a garden and all of that. But I love leeks. I think they are an amazing vegetable. What is your feeling on them?
I love them. I could eat leek and potato soup until the cows come home. And I also chop them up and I put them in the mince. You know, when we're having dinner, I put bits of leek in there as well. Just to
yum. They're just such a gentle onion, you know. They're not in your face, and I think they're super tasty. So do you have any favorite books or anything like that you would like to share?
Oh, I have lots of favorite authors that I read all of their books for. So I read a lot of John Grisham books.
Okay.
But one of my favorite authors is Philippa Gregory. She does historical novels. So she wrote books like let's see, The Other Berlin. Made movies. The White Queen was another. She actually wrote the novels for that, and they're really good. The focus on, because I'm a bit of a history buff as well, and I love the Tudors, so it focuses mainly on the Tudor period, and she focuses on the women within that period. So she has a book that she wrote the novel for, which is based on historical fact, but she writes it, you know, as a fiction about each of his queens. And then some of the family surrounding them are the courtiers. And I just really love reading her books.
I love historically set fiction as well, just because I find it so much. I love documentaries and I watch a lot of them. My husband and my son hate watching TV with me because I usually go to something I'm going to learn, and not my murder shows, of course, but you know, I know everything there is to know about World War II. I know everything there is to know about, I mean, just, you know, all these subjects, but I love historically set fiction because it allows you to kind of live in that little world without it having to be necessarily, you know, factual.
Yes.
As far as like, you know, all my dates are correct and all my, you know, you're not learning about somebody who actually lived. You're allowed to live kind of a fantasy within that time frame.
Yes. No, I really love historical books. I like the Tudor period. So Philippa Gregory really does. If you enjoy your history, I would highly recommend her books.
Okay.
But I also like the Egyptian period as well.
Oh, okay.
To do with Egyptians. So I've got this idea in my head that I want to do a big mosaic Egyptian quilt with, you know, I have it.
Okay, so you said that you're a quilter as well. So are you talking about like fabric quilt or a crochet pattern?
A crochet one.
Oh, okay.
The fabric one that I've got going on at the minute actually has elephants on it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
making a blanket for movie night for us, a quilt for movie night, and there's 3 elephants on it. One for me, one for my daughter. So we can all snuggle under it.
Neve says she loves Philippa Gregory.
Yeah, she's really good. And she's quite an easy read as well. It's not difficult to read her books.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look her up because I really need to get back into reading. I used to be a very heavy reader. But when crochet design kind of over my, you can't read and crochet at the same time. I wish you could. That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
That's why and how I kind of got into water shows. But I need to take time out, my day to set aside for reading and just enjoy books again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's one
So
of my things.
from the beginning of your, I'm sorry, go ahead. I think I've got a pause in my
Sorry, I was just agreeing with you that it's one of my things that I want to do as well, as read more. Because I used to go through books like they were going fashion. I would read 2 and 3 books a week. And then obviously Sunflower's taken over all of the precious time that I have. And I want to get back to that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's so funny because I stepped out of the workplace in 2020. And of course, it was right before the pandemic hit. Of course, nobody knew that that was happening. And I was stepping out. And I'm like, I'm going to work for myself. And then the pandemic hit. And I think I fell into about a 2-year depression. It was such a hard time. And I think everybody kind of went through that. And we're all sort of coming up from underneath and beginning to breathe again. And so I wanted to attack my business and do more. And so I joined the Crochet Business Academy. And it's been really, really good, except that I agree. I find that all of my time is kind of absorbed by being obsessed about my business. And it definitely is important for us to make that space in your life, especially, speaking to anybody who is going to be, pursuing a business and watching this later, and wants to become a crochet designer. You have to make space in your life to continue the things that you love to do, because it can be all consuming.
Yeah. And you also need to find designers that are on your wavelength that you can meet with and talk with, because it can also be a really lonely place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. So I've got a couple of comments here from not to flip the thing, but Anita also said audiobooks, and Alicia says audiobooks and crochet go well together. And Neve has said The Other Boleyn Girl with Natalie Portman. Have you seen that?
Yes.
I haven't, and I've got to watch that. So, do you listen to audiobooks at all, or do you read?
I read. I've tried, and I do have a couple of Kindles, but I can't get away with them. I just love having a physical book, being able to turn the pages, see how far you are. And when it's an old book, if you get one from the library, the smell of them.
It has a smell, doesn't it? Yes. Yeah. The smell of books.
Oh, you can't take that away from me.
I've tried doing audiobooks.
Yes, I think for me, Kindle takes all of that.
Neve says Kindles are handy for when you're traveling, but real books are the best. I completely agree. I've tried to do the listening to audiobooks, and I haven't tried very hard. I'm just going to be honest. But I have tried audiobooks, and it's almost like listening to a podcast for me. I have a hard time listening to a podcast. I don't know what it is about. If there's something up on a screen, like I will listen to or watch video podcasts easier than one that doesn't have a picture to it, because for whatever reason it engages me more, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Like listening to, I just seems to, my brain seems to wander. It's weird. I'm weird. It's okay. But I did want to talk with you, and I've got it on my list here, so I want to make sure. We were talking about media presence, and we've been a couple of places we've talked about community. one of the big themes that has been really coming and bubbling up to the top within the last couple of years has been, especially during the pandemic, community over competition. And that's something that Pam definitely expresses in Crochet Business Academy. But also I find it everywhere in social media now, where everybody's kind of like community over competition. What are your viewpoints and thoughts on that?
I like it. It is a really good concept. I don't know how true it is for some people. Some people seem to take more than what they're prepared to give.
Agreed.
Communities. But if you find the people that you just gel with, that, you know what I mean, that genuinely want to boost you, that really love your business. Like at the moment, my co-work crew is Joanna from High Desert Yarn, Christine from Ambassador Crochet, and Michelle from Two Brothers Blankets. And 2 or 3 times a week we get on Zoom and we talk through things, and it's like, right, okay, so Christine, I'm going to name and shame her, has been how to write a for 2 years. Okay, Christine, I'm done nice now. Let's get to it. When are you going to release this monster?
Oh my goodness.
Just get it off your plate. But she's a perfectionist. She keeps going back and changing things, and she just
perfectionism can mess you up.
Yes, it really can. It can slow you down a lot as well. But it's like, come on, it's great. Just go for it. I mean, the other ladies in the group were beta testers for it. So if she's got any questions or she wants us to look at anything or give any opinions, she'll share it and we'll be honest with her about what we think. That sort of community is absolutely, it's just unrivaled. Really, it's fantastic. But yeah, hey ho.
Well, maybe she'll feel the poke. Get her done.
I keep her at least once a week. Okay, how far have you got? And then when she starts getting a little bit about it, I'm like, okay, now you need to go for a run, because she's a runner. And you can tell when she isn't running, because our motivation and everything just dips a little bit, and it's like, okay, nope, go for your run. Get back on that.
It's that dopamine kick.
Yeah.
It keeps you up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you on the community over competition, where it does definitely depend on who you're hooked up with and who you're talking to about it. Because I'm in several collaboration groups, and I've noticed that there are ones that are very much about, they want to put their stuff out and they want you to put their stuff out, but they really aren't into returning that. Which, and so I the reason why I started this podcast is because I really want to sow into the community as far as designers are concerned, because our voices are not something that many of us are able to get out there, and not everybody's comfortable getting in front of the camera, and it's a big scary thing until somebody helps you do it. And then after that, you kind of break that ice. And so I've had quite a few people who are like, oh, I've just never done this before, I'm really, really scared. But you know what? Once you get in front of the camera and you realize it's not, there's nobody there to judge you. There's nobody there to look at you, and if you don't have people commenting, that's fine. It is a little bit hard to do it yourself, but I want people to get to know the designers behind the designs that they love, and it gives people the opportunity to talk about themselves, which, once again, that's, you had said you get pinged for being too humble. And but I think a lot of us deal with that. Like, we're not really interested in talking about ourselves because it feels so cocky and it feels so in your face to talk about ourselves. However, we kind of have to be to get our stuff out there. So it's an awkward situation to be in. But Yes, I absolutely, for myself, this is probably my contribution to the community over competition thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of watch how that plays out.
Yes, it will.
Because it always
comes around, don't they? So
yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Okay, so we're getting to just about the end of our time together. I do want to ask a couple more questions, and we did talk about this a little bit earlier. So I would like to ask you, how do you feel your design aesthetic? And you said that you've been doing it for about 4.5, 5 years. Since you started, how do you feel like your design aesthetic has changed or evolved?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot in the early days with the smaller patterns, the baskets, the hats, the scarves, that sort of thing. But now I'm more looking towards the bigger projects, the things that interest me more, I should say, such as the blankets. I love doing the collaborations like you. I'm a big fan of community over competition. But yeah, sometimes that doesn't quite work out. And garments, I'm trying to flex my muscles a little bit more with garments. I've got an 11-year-old daughter who thinks she's 16, 17. And really, I continue making things that she thinks, actually, Mum, will you make me one of them, please? For me, that's the biggest boost that I have, is when Georgia actually wants something that I've made. And quite often she'll want it and it'll sit in her wardrobe for 3 years until she outgrows it.
That's my daughter. She would ask me to make stuff and then she would never wear it. And I finally told her, I said, that's it. I'm not making you anything else. Oh, we've got a freeze. My internet seems to be iffy today. Did you come back? There you are. I was just saying that I'm sorry, go ahead. Mine is so in and out.
I was just saying that I heard up to when you said that you finally told her.
Yeah, that I'm not making any more for her. Although I did make a sweater for her this last year that she absolutely loved. And then she wanted more. And I just, because it was such a nightmare to put together, I said, no, I'm sorry, you're only getting the one. That's it. Yeah. But okay, so do you have any tips that you would like to leave for beginning designers, that what you would focus on, what you would let go? Do you have any advice that you would like to give anyone?
The biggest thing, whether you're a designer or whether you make just for the fun of it, is don't compare yourself to anybody else. Because you are where you are in your crochet journey. Don't look in these Facebook groups and say, actually, I can't make that. I'm not good enough for that, because you absolutely are. The people that have made that might have been making those sorts of items for the last 50 years, but you just started last week. So don't compare yourself to those people, because it's not worth the heartache, and you will get there.
I completely agree with that.
And don't look at that and say, I can't do that, because you can. It might take a little bit longer. You might have things to learn along the way. But you know what? There's so many resources out there for crocheters now, with YouTubes and blogs and everything else that there is, that you can always find an answer or find out how to do something. So don't give up.
Agree. I completely agree with that. It's a great piece of advice to give people, just because there's that saying that says, don't judge your journey, the middle of your journey, by somebody else's finish line. Because we're not in the same place. None of us are.
No.
Even if we're really kind of close in place, we're still in a different journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's really great advice. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say goodbye to Helen for now. We are gonna come back another time and have another conversation when you put out that awesome blanket that we are expecting. We'll have to get back together so that you can show it to everybody.
Okay.
But don't go away because I want to say a proper goodbye. I'm gonna just take you off camera real quick so that I can say bye to everybody else.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Base. It's been fabulous.
Absolutely. This has been so much fun. Hang on just a minute. I'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for watching the Buzz with Busy Crochet today. I've enjoyed talking with Helen so much. If you are joining us on YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel if you want to make sure that you get other notifications for other interviews that we are going to be hosting here. And make sure that you look in the description box below because all of Helen's information is going to be there and available for you if you want to connect with her in any way. All right. Thanks so much again. I'll see you next time.